Good day to you all, wherever you are. It's good to be here today. And today we want to cover a topic on changing the mindsets of us as the citizens of Kenya. Of course, under the banner of creating a positive impact. What do we mean? So first of all, I'll start with the saying that the rise or the fall of a nation is dependent on the mindset of its people. Now, that's a very loaded statement. And it's a statement that you see most of the countries, prosperous countries, of course, look at the mindset of the people. And countries that have taken themselves down, look at what happens. It's mainly the people. And the people starts from your mind. Now, as Kenya, we call ourselves a blessed nation, of which for true, Kenya is a blessed nation. And when I say Kenya is a blessed nation, what do we mean? We have fantastic weather. We are located by the equator. Weather is fantastic. So when you talk about agriculture and many other things that you can do with our land, we're able to do it. In terms of minerals, Kenya has minerals. Kenyans are hardworking people, and that we should never look down upon. And that's why you see a lot of Kenyan citizens getting employment outside the country because of our working culture. When we look at our youth, we have a vibrant youth. They start something, it moves to the rest of the world. And those are things that we need to maximize. We look at it as Kenyans and we look at the investment that we already have. In terms of entrepreneurial opportunities, yes, we do have. If we have the land, we have good weather, we have a vibrant youth, we have intelligent and hardworking people, then it means when it comes to entrepreneurship, then as Kenyans, we are ahead of the pack. Now, this is where we need to look at our mindset because we have all the T's on our side. We need to figure out how can we create a positive mindset that will be able to enable us see the art of the possible. Now, what would I want us to look at? First of all, before we look at anything, will be about the critical questions that we need to ask ourselves. What mindset have we developed as the citizens of Kenya, and how can we change it? Instead of looking at what wrong is there with Kenya. So let's look inside out, from us as individuals, outside. Now, a couple of things I'd want us to look at is what is holding us as Kenyans from being where we are supposed to be, looking at the positive things that we have all around us for us to maximize. Number one is a victim mentality. We as Kenyans have this victim mentality that we really, really need to figure out how to change. We need to stop viewing ourselves as victims. We need to strip it off completely and take the responsibility and initiative kind of a mindset, whereby we look at, as me as an individual, as Grace Mokaya, what is it that am I doing to change our country? What am I doing to change the community so that it can come and change the institutions that we work for and the institutions that we engage in, and later change our nation? So we need to look at that and stop being victims. This playing victims is what makes us very vulnerable and end up being used by the people who don't want to peddle the positive agenda, but instead look at the negative agenda. If we stop being victims, then we will awaken our minds to want to start knowing who is Kenya, who am I in Kenya, what is it that we have as our nation, what are the infrastructures, what are the systems that are in place, where can I plug in, what can I do to benefit. Aside of that, how can I speak to the rest of my peers, the people around me, to try and change what is there positively, working together as a community of people to be able to transform things that are around us. That is the number one thing that you need to look at and then figure out how to change. Secondly, the culture of complaining. Now, we need to stop complaining. As Kenyans, I think we covered this in the previous video that we ran. We need to stop having this complaining culture. We need to look at it as, what do I need to change? It needs to start with me first. What do we need to change to stop complaining and then embrace positivity to be able to run forward? Of course, we need to understand that criticism is necessary for a democracy. But how can we change our criticism from negative criticism that is there today into positive criticism? Then let's try this, because we've tried negative criticism over years and it's not taking us anywhere. And if we continue with the negative criticism, we'll end up banning our own nation. We're already seeing what's happening. Like, for instance, we end up having quote unquote, what we call maandamano. We want to start off the maandamano as a positive thing, but it ends up with people's businesses being broken down into stealing, mugging each other, fighting and beating one another, people being shot and being killed. Can we change this into positive criticism? And then secondly, how do we handle our positive criticism? Can we look for legal ways and forums on how we can handle it? For instance, going into faith-based organizations, and the faith-based organizations carry this forward, speaking as a mouthpiece of the people, of course, starting positively and then raising what needs to be changed for the people. I think we covered that the last time, but it will be important to look at constructive criticism in that aspect. The next thing we need to look at is a dependency mentality. And I really don't want us to say that we are a dependent nation, but we are a very dependent nation. We expect either people to get into political positions so that they can help us. We expect other people to go get jobs somewhere, maybe out of the country or wherever, and the entire community is looking at them. We need to stop that. We need to start looking at ourselves as me, Michael, me, Lionel, me, Sam, me, Steve, me, Wanjiko. What do I need to do as me to transform? But not depending on other people to go work hard for us. We need to stop that. This thing of depending on our leaders, you stop doing that. Let me put this person in the leadership position so that I can be able to benefit in this way or another. That is where we go wrong. We need to look at, what is it that am I going to add value, plus somebody else adding value and another person adding value. When we do different things differently and we all contribute towards the betterment of our nation. So that's another one. Short-term thinking is killing us. Why? They say that we're in the microwave generation. So we expect that we're going to put leaders in place. This is just a scenario. We're going to put leaders in place, and miraculously, overnight, these leaders need to start transforming, making changes and things like that. That is one of them that we need to look at. So when it comes to short-term thinking, guys, Rome was not built in a day. We need to know that. And anything that picks life and evolves and becomes good for us has to go through a process. There's a process to everything that you do. When you go and mine gold, you don't just use it the way it is. Of course, it has to go through the heating process and molding process until it becomes something precious that you want. So what do we need to do? We need to put ourselves in the point of, what is the idea that you have? Birth that idea, bring it into action, start small, grow it as you learn. Who is my customer? Who is my audience? Who am I addressing? Then now start customizing that thing to fit the kind of people that you're looking at. Within time, you'll find you will have perfected the product that you have to something that a wider audience or a wider crowd will be interested in. So let us have patience. Patience is a virtue, and it's something that will really help us grow. The last one I'd want us to look at, lack of civic responsibility. If I don't know what my government is doing, if I don't know what the agenda of Ministry 1 or Ministry 2 or this department or this organization is doing, it means I will not be able to contribute positively, because when people come and complain about something, you will pick that complaint and own it and run with it without an understanding on what is driving that. So when you talk about civic responsibility, it is good to know our country. And I think that is the next thing that we would want to learn as a people, and of course bring to us as a people, is to get to understand. We talk about infrastructure. What infrastructure is there in Kenya? How can I benefit as a citizen from this infrastructure? What systems are there that have been provided for us? How can we benefit from this services? I also look at something like agriculture, and I think this touches us so much as a people of Kenya, and this is why we really, really need to learn. I think the Ministry of Agriculture have already gone in depth to try and categorize our country in the 47 counties. And once they categorize it, they check out the soils in these areas, they check out the weather patterns in these areas, and they come up with produces that things, agricultural produce and animals that we can keep in these regions, and we will thrive. And then they clearly demarcate what county, maybe let's say Nyeri County can do, what Uasin Gishu County can do, what Kericho County can do, what other counties can do. But now this is where we say civic responsibility is very important. We don't grow maize because we all want to grow maize. Because what happens? We end up having an influx overproduce. What does that end up doing? Our costs go down. What does that do? You end up, you as a farmer, you've invested so much, but you're not getting back your returns. How about us as a nation? Try and categorize ourselves from wherever we are, the different counties. These counties, may we be known for 1, 2, 3 is what we focus on, and the other county the same, and the other county the same. And that's why we would actually also require to have the county governments coming together with the national government and give us these different frameworks that they've set in place, so that we can actually start by trading amongst ourselves. County A trading against County B, County C and D. We create markets for ourselves, we create value for ourselves. Farmers are able to realize benefits. Our youth are able to come in with value addition, whereby they get this, they produce up to the last mile. And with that, as a nation, we'll be able to move forward. We have cooperatives. We have the Ministry of Cooperatives, the trans cooperatives and SACCOs. They all run under it. How can the cooperatives come in to benefit us as a citizen? How they'll come in is we have accessibility to loans, we have accessibility to other things, be it fertilizer and what else, access to markets and stuff like that. Those are things that we can take advantage of. But when you go there, we are not taking advantage of these things as citizens. Now, these are some of the things that we need to do, because if we do that, by the time somebody goes and tells you, go to the street and make noise, you'll have already thought twice. What am I getting from this government? I'm getting 1, I'm getting 2, I'm getting 3. So what does this mean? It means we are not maximizing the resources we have as a nation. Yeah, and mindset. We need to change that. Let's now start learning more about our nation, what systems have been put in place for us, what is there, what resources are there, how can I be able to maximize these resources so that it can benefit I as an individual, secondly, the community, the institutions around us, and the countries. The next thing I'd want us to cover is what mindset we should be able to build as a nation. I think I've touched a bit on what we need to do. Number 1 is a mindset of ownership. What does this mean? It means that we need to look at it as Kenya belongs to us, and every citizen needs to ask themselves a critical question. If this nation belongs to me or belongs to you, how should I care for it? Because once we ask ourselves this question, then we'll go back and start answering a lot of questions we need to. Mindset of ownership again, I'll pause, is what are you very good at? What is it that you can bring to the table and offer that will add value, not to only you, it will add value to the people around you. And at long run, it comes as value to yourself. Can we own our mind? Can we own it? And by you owning your mind, what does it mean? You also feed your mind positively. Read, research, try and look for resources, consult, and don't consult one place, consult widely to in places whereby they have that specialty. Because if you go to consult with people who don't have that interest, they'll speak down to what it is that you want to do. Or most probably they will not have the information, then they'll end up speaking something else that you'll pick up that does not benefit you. That actually does not align to what you want to do. So go to this, nowadays, internet, and that's one thing that Kenya has done. We have very good internet across the country. How are we maximizing it? We have the ICT hubs that the Ministry of ICT has already set up in the different counties. Can we go there? Can we research? You just go down to Google, ask it whatever it is that you want. It will give you all the information that you need. See, find out the bodies that run these things. Go and consult and check. If you don't find, go down into different institutions, and now they'll be able to give you the information. If you try, you will find. If you're curious enough, you're going to get what it is that you want. So that's a part of the mind. Owning your mindset. Secondly, I would want us to look at having a mindset of excellence. Let me tell you, when somebody does anything with excellence, it means being a perfectionist. To some point, strive to be a perfectionist in what you do. Now, I keep telling my children one thing, that why do businesses owned by the Western world thrive? Why do most of their businesses thrive? It's because these people breathe, feed, eat, do everything their business. I have traveled quite a bit, and this is a privilege that God gave me. And let me tell you, you will see somebody setting up a restaurant in the Western world. What do? Their home is next to their business. They understand their business, the full value chain of their business. They can tell you, I got this, I get my plants from this, I do this, I get my groceries here, I do this. They understand their customers, they understand their partners, they understand the seasons of their businesses. Now, the challenge, the only thing I've seen with us here in Kenya is that we start a business, then we hire resources, we leave the business for somebody else to run, we go and do other things. That's where we lose it. So in short, what you're trying to say is, let us reject the mindset of mediocrity and let's embrace excellence to become our national identity. Let's look at integrity. Integrity is very critical for a positive mindset. So what does it mean? With integrity, you have to do the right thing, even when no one is watching you. Hey, that is one thing we need to do as Kenyans. Okay, then unity. Unity is very important. We need to look at each other as brothers. We need to embrace, one thing we need to notice, unity does not require uniformity. And when we stand together, our diversities become our greatest strength. So please, the way we say, different counties do different things, then let's start trading amongst each other. Let me tell you, we will be able to create wealth amongst ourselves, between county to county, county to county. So let's work together in unity. And lastly, let's embrace the mindset of innovation. You're told if you do not innovate, then you're planning to die. So let's embrace innovation in everything that we do. Always feed your mind as much as you can with the positive things so that you can grow. Now, for us, what is the role of us as the Kenyan citizens towards this? So, speaking positively while remaining truthful. Positive. We have to embrace positive. Remember, you speak positivity, we send that positivity to our children and our children's children. When you speak negative, it means you create a negative environment for all yourself. So let's change from seeing things negatively, and let's embrace positive going forward. Secondly, we need to hold our leaders accountable in a respectful manner and through lawful means. We hold them accountable in a respectful manner. Remember, what do we say first? We have to start by commending all the positive things that they do. Then secondly, highlighting what it is that we need to change in a structured manner so that we can be able to get value from it. Support local businesses. For us to grow, we have to support local businesses. Number two, when you're supporting a local business, you'll not go to the street to go and ban somebody else's business, because even you expect your own business to be taken care of. Unity will enable us not embrace. Unity will be able to help us be able to support local businesses. Mentoring our young people. You will not mentor from a point of negativity. You will only be able to mentor positively and towards growth with embracing positivity. Then participating in community service all together. Remember that we are all a community. And we need to do that. Some of us are millennials, so we used to be the community's children. We used to be disciplined by the community, not just by our household. Nowadays, things have changed, but let's try and see how to work together as a community. Then respecting public property. Please, let's do this. Of course, there are many other things. We need to vote responsibly on character and competence. Remember, if you do not vote responsibly, then you end up being hopeless, because when things are not working well, you become hopeless, you start embracing negativity. So let's be very structured on how we do our voting. Let's exercise our voting rights based on character and competence. There are many other things that we need to embrace, but we'll look at that later. Now, when we come to religious institutions, these are faith-based communities that shape the moral fabric of our society. We really need our faith-based communities to come together as one voice and speak for us as a whole. Sit down together in unity. Now, in conclusion, what I'd kindly request us to do is, instead of asking the question, what is Kenya becoming? Let us ask, what kind of Kenyan am I becoming? The Kenya we dream is possible, but it begins with us. Thank you all, and God bless you.